Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 991 here, and welcome to the Pull List. This is my weekly comic book review where I talk about all the comics that came out this week that I read. This week these comics came out on April 11th, 2018, and the format for this show is I always review them from least popular comic to pick of the week. Darth Vader, number 14. The Empire hopes to take control of the planet Mon Cala, and of course they send Vader and his Inquisitors to intimidate the leaders and find out the whereabouts of a hidden Jedi that's on Mon Cala, and the Jedi is Master Bar. This issue was pretty uneventful. You know, aside from a small cameo by Admiral Akbar, it was pretty dull. I mean, for the most part, we finally do learn the identity of the Jedi on Mon Cala, who is Master Bar, but he doesn't really provide anything new to the story. All he does is just kind of like tell his followers all about how Anakin went to the dark side and killed younglings. Heard that before. There is sort of the only excitement that did happen in this issue though was probably when the Mon Calans responded to the Empire's attacks by basically drowning all their surface cities. That, you know, Mon Calans are basically amphibious creatures, so they live under, so most of their planet is underwater, and they only have like surface outposts for like to talk with interplanetary visitors. So they basically sink the outposts, and Vader and his Inquisitors are on there, and we see, and as they're being destroyed and brought down to the depths, we see Vader floating down there. And there really is no tension in this scene because we all know Darth Vader's going to survive. Honestly, Darth Vader number 14, just not that good, not that exciting, and to be perfectly honest, I'm thinking about, with this issue, I'm really thinking about dropping Darth Vader once this is done. Wonder Woman, number 44. Wonder Woman and her allies battle Darkseid and Grail as the latter two open a portal to Themyscira. Despite Wonder Woman taking on Darkseid solo, most of the action in this issue is very generic. It's just basically beat-em-ups throughout the entire comic. We do find out that the method of which Darkseid and Grail want to turn the Amazons into parademons. That's basically what Darkseid's goal is, to build a new army of parademons using the Amazons. And there's some sort of gauntlet Grail has that causes some Amazons to change into parademons. There is a great scene though when Darkseid finally gets his portal to Themyscira open. He and Grail are able to enter the portal, but when Diane tries to go through, she can't, because apparently she can't return to Themyscira since she once set foot on there and left. And Grail is able to return because technically she was born on Themyscira as a baby, but she never touched the ground. So, loophole. You know, Wonder Woman just really hasn't been that great, hasn't really been clicking for me. This arc with Grail and Darkseid, it just feels like we're doing the same thing over, and it's been really dropping in quality. I'm not saying that James Robinson is a bad writer. I'm just saying that his plots are very slow, and this is what it feels like most of the time whenever I read this book. That's why it's really low on my list. Titans, number 22. The issue continues the arc's trend of the Justice League not taking the warnings of Roy Harper and the other Titans seriously when they think there's something big going on. Of course, the Justice League isn't taking any of the Titans' words seriously. Eventually, though, the Justice League is trying to contain these natural disasters that are across the earth, but they don't know that they're under the influence of the brain. So with the Justice League distracted and occupied, Donna Troy is able to use this opportunity to sneak off back to Earth and find Roy Harper. She reunites with Roy, and after taking down Cheshire, they go track down where the brain of Monsieur Mala's lair is, and that's where the issue ends. While I've kind of been enjoying this arc of the whole Justice League not taking the Titans seriously, and this was probably the weakest issue, especially in the opening when Donna is trying to help the League because she sees they're being overwhelmed, and of course Batman's just like, no, go back to your room, we got this. I mean, it just feels like to me like that's what you hear in every single issue where, I mean, that's just, the dialogue is just literally lifted from like any other story where an older hero is telling a younger hero, no, you can't do this, we've got it, blah, blah, blah. It was just very dull, and it just had a very dull opening. This one, it really tries to, and while the other issues have been good, this one really tries to drill in the whole tear the group apart and build them back stronger message that we've been getting. And so I think once Donna and Roy are in the Brain's hideout. Probably next issue they're going to contact the other Titans and have them come and they'll reunite and take the Brain down. So, I don't know. This issue was definitely... The reason it's on this spot on the list is because it's definitely the weakest I've read of this arc. Which is a shame because I've been really enjoying Titans. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 42. The controllers get ready to launch their new wave of Dark Stars armor, but one of the suits activates by itself and ignores all of the controller's commands. Meanwhile, at the science cells, Hal Jordan talks to former Lantern Tomar 2 about his actions with the murder of Romet Drew, and this pretty much barrels into a discussion where we find out Tomar 2 has actually been entertaining the idea that heroes need to be more lethal with criminals in order to stop them for good. Suddenly, the Dark Star armor appears before Tomar 2 and offers him a place with the Dark Stars, in which Tomar accepts and escapes his cell. Okay, for me the high point of this issue was probably the conversation between Hal Jordan and Tomar 2, because Tomar doesn't just talk about him killing Romet Rue to prevent more murders, but also he references his father, Tomar Ray's death at the hands of one of Hal's rogues gallery from Earth, and how it probably wouldn't have happened if Hal had actually taken care of Golden Face. And that conversation was just very well written. I thought both sides of the argument were very well supported. Also, I think the Dark Star arc is very intriguing. I'm very much interested. I believe this is going to be Robert Venditti's final arc on Hal Jordan. And I think I am definitely more interested in the Dark Stars because this feels more better for Green Lantern instead of the last arc that we got where he was fighting General Zod, which was very underwhelming. And next up, in a bold new direction, Champions, number 19. Alright, with the addition of new members Wasp and Ironheart, the Champions also get a new base in this issue. The Champions Mobile Bunker, or CMB as they're calling it. Basically, the Champions head off on their first mission to investigate a suspicious lab in the Arctic, and while they're under attack, Nova gets shot in the chest. This issue was very well written. The mission itself isn't really the focus of the issue, but instead it spent a significant amount of time showing the Champions exploring their new base, also this new interaction with the team members since Cyclops is gone and now we've got 2 new members. I really liked how they showed the relationships that could form between the characters, and what's really great is how for a team book, no single character is given the spotlight. It felt very well balanced, and every champion got like their moment, got like the appropriate amount of words to say so that no one was like, you know, focused on the other. Also, I really liked the design of the Champions' new mobile base. It looks very great. I also think this is something that separates Champions from most of the other young superhero teams I've read in the past. Also, the way they have this first issue in a brand new era on the comics since a new creative team has taken over, I think this is probably what's going to happen for Marvel's fresh start. If it's not going to be a number 1, if it's continuing or something, then they're probably just going to slap this banner on there. Honestly, Champions number 19, this new team is off to a great start, and I can't wait to see what they have next. Detective Comics number 978. Batman has a sit-down with Batwoman and General Kane regarding the colony soldiers he and Tim fought last issue. Meanwhile, Ulysses Armstrong, who is now calling himself the General, uses Brother Eye to turn the other colony soldiers into OMACs before doing the same thing to Tim Drake. I really like the way they've sort of incorporated the Brother Eye and the OMACs with future Tim. I think that's a good way to call back to the era when they were first introduced during Infinite Crisis. Okay, yes, I know that OMACs and Brother Eye were created by Jack Kirby in the 70s, but the way that they sort of associated Brother Eye with Batman was during Infinite Crisis, and using that again for this story is very interesting. Also, I really like the issues of Detective Comics where they sort of focus on Bruce's relationship with Batwoman, because they are cousins on his mother's side. And in this issue, Bruce meets Batwoman and General Kane at General Kane and his mother Martha's childhood home, Kane Manor, I believe it's called. And I think that's a good idea that we don't really see, because most of the Batman stories, whenever they focus on a parent, they always go with Wayne history or Thomas Wayne. So it's a nice change of pace to see them paying attention to Bruce's mother's side of the family. Also, Tim Drake being an OMAC turning into an OMAC. I don't think that's going to last very long. I'm kind of hoping that in the closing issues for James Tynion the Fourth's run that Tim Drake does get more of the center focus, because I feel like that's the one character James Tynion really wanted to write for in this group of characters for Detective Comics. And plus, Ulysses Armstrong was a foe of Tim Drake back during the Chuck Dixon era. So that's really great. But still, Detective Comics, it's going strong. We are heading towards the end of James Tynion the Fourth's run, and I can't wait to see how he ends it all. Flash, number 44, the conclusion to Perfect Storm. In order to stop the negative Speed Force storm, the Flash family races around the central city in order to get to disperse. After the storm is gone, Barry reunites with Iris, and soldiers from Gorilla City arrive to arrest Grodd. This was a very great conclusion to Perfect Storm. The best part about this issue was how its framing device was a letter that Barry wrote Iris in case of his death. And during the letter, he mentions the original Wally West and says that you have another nephew named Wally, and I'm pretty sure as soon as it's over, I'm going to introduce you to. And at the end of the issue, we get a teaser saying, next issue, well, Iris meets Wally West. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, we get a very nice teaser at the end of the issue to help set up Flash War, where again we see Hunter Zolomon in the future, and he mentions about how he wasn't really Barry's villain, he was Wally's, and I think that's a good way to sort of reintroduce us to the character before we head into the next arc, Flash War, which I'm really looking forward to. I honestly enjoyed this arc very much because it helped bring Wally West back into the Flash title, which is great. And we've got Flash War coming up, which is also going to have the original Wally back, so I'm super excited for that. It's going to be good to have an arc that's going to focus on both Barry and Wally. Overall, if you are a Wally West fan, now is definitely the time to start reading The Flash again. All right, my last comic, my pick of the week is Captain America number 700. Captain America tries to rebuild America in 2025. However, with dwindling resources and more enemies arriving to try to conquer America, Cap is trying his hardest to keep winning battles, but he's not winning the war. Eventually, though, Steve Rogers realizes that even though it's risky, he has to go back in time before he was frozen in order to stop Rampart from launching their first strike, which sent everything to hell. So Steve is able to return to the past right after he was frozen, seconds right after he was frozen, by the way, and he's able to sneak onto Rampart's sub, stop them, and even though the missile launches, he's able to destroy it mid-air, sacrificing himself in order to ensure a better future. And no, Cap is not dead because there is the other Captain America that was frozen. Fortunately, past Cap, or present day Cap, is defrosted and writes a letter to Sharon Carter saying that he's done with his little cross-country road trip and looks forward to the future and stuff. Since this is the 700th issue, there is also a backup story that's written by Mark Waid, but it has artwork by Jack Kirby. So obviously this must have been some sort of uncompleted Jack Kirby story that Mark Waid kind of wrote dialogue in, I assume. The main story I thought did an excellent job with the whole time travel angle. In the beginning, though, when Dr. Banner does offer Cap a way to get back to the past, he's very hesitant to do it because he thinks, if I go back in the past, I could make things worse, I could eliminate this timeline, it's too risky, I want to stay in the present to make sure I can do things now rather than try to fix it all in the past. But since that doesn't work in the present, Cap realizes that they do need a miracle, and maybe going back in the past could be that miracle. Also, I think killing off the future Cap was a good move to sort of like close the time loop, so that way we didn't have two Captain Americas running around the present. I am a little disappointed though because Mark Waid has one more arc on this title, but it kind of cuts short the road trip arc that we started with when Mark Waid took over the title, which is a little disappointing because I liked seeing Cap travel America and stuff, and it's a little disappointing that that's ending, but this is still a great comic, and I do love Mark Waid on Captain America because he really gets what Captain America is all about. He knows how to show the best of Steve Rogers' character in this title, and honestly, I've said this before in all of my reviews when I've reviewed this title on the Marvel Report, and I am going to write a written review for this issue, but I've said that Mark Waid made me love Captain America again, and this issue definitely confirmed it. Also, the artist on the title, Chris Samney, he does some awesome action scenes. Like, all of his one-page splash pages are fantastic, and I would love to have posters of them. Also, I like how for a 100th issue, it's not loaded with tons of backups. There's just like maybe one backup story and the main story, and that's it. I really like how it doesn't have too much to it. Overall, this was a great conclusion to the Captain America Out of Time storyline. If you haven't been reading the Captain America since Secret Empire, I highly encourage you to check out Mark Waid's run, because I guarantee it, you'll love Captain America again. That's it for my weekly comic book review. Thank you again for watching. This video will be uploaded on Friday, so at this point there will only be 2 more weeks till the release of Avengers Infinity War. Next Friday, I will start uploading videos every day for a week leading up to Infinity War's release, where they'll all be Infinity War themed. So if you want to check those out, make sure you stay subscribed and notified. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, because whenever I post a video, the link always goes right to my Twitter. So if you want, follow me on Twitter at Spiderman1991, and you'll be notified that way too when I post a new video. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for all your support. I'm Lewis, aka Spiderman1991, saying see you later.